The easiest way to build self-confidence is definitely this right here. It's as simple as this. Keeping your word to yourself. It's as simple as that. You're probably not doing that if you're lacking in self-confidence. Keeping your word to yourself. Whatever you say you want to get done, you get it done. Whatever promise you make to yourself, you do it. You don't go back on your word. And it's with yourself. It has to be with yourself. Keeping your word to yourself, because if you can keep your word to yourself, you can keep your word to others. Another thing too, we know that confidence usually comes with competence. And if you're competent, you're confident. So if you're competent in something, you have the confidence to perform that task or to, use that ability that you have because you're competent in it. So if you're competent in trusting yourself and keeping your word to yourself, that's where self-confidence comes from. That's what I believe, at least. And that's what I've noticed from myself. When I break my own promises, there's this feeling of shame because I told myself I was going to do something and I didn't do it. And I start to just think to myself like, damn, how am I supposed to, lead other people when I can't even lead myself? That's the first thought that goes through my mind whenever I break a promise or I don't do something that I said I was going to do, to whatever I said to myself that I was going to do. I think that's where it comes from. Keeping your word to yourself. When you say you're going to do something, you do that shit. You don't back down. You don't back out. You do that shit regardless. And that comes to anything, getting up in the morning, going to the gym, creating my content. If I say I'm going to create content that day, I'm going to do it. Just yesterday, I'm really into short form content now. I filmed 4 different reels in about 2.5 hours. Like months ago, that's something I couldn't even imagine, but I kept my word to myself that I was going to do it yesterday. And I did it in like 2.5 hours. And now I have content for literally 2 weeks, just from 2.5 hours of just dedicating myself to something that I said I was going to do. And now I feel a lot more confident in going out and shooting more reels and shooting more videos because I did that. So when you keep your word to yourself and you complete what you said you're going to do, your confidence rises. You trust yourself a lot more. And when you trust yourself a lot more, you're confident in yourself. It's as simple as that. There's one thing that I struggle with actually a little bit, that I keep breaking my promise to myself on. And it's, it's cutting out sugar. It's great that I'm in shape and everything. And, sometimes I'll cheat because I know I can. Because I know that I can cheat and get away with it because I know I'm in shape. I know I'm always going to do my best physically. But, I want to get to the next level physically. And sugar is something that I have to cut out. And it's something that I keep, breaking. It's a promise that I keep breaking to myself. And it's really fucking annoying because it's something that I can cut out so easily and I know it. But for some reason, I won't do it. And it has to do, again, it's always with identity. I believe possibly that I'm identifying with like an old version of myself. And there's a new version of myself that eats a lot less sugar and is basically cut it out from his life. You have to start identifying with that person. And to do that, you have to take the first step, which is doing things one day at a time. So if you keep that promise to yourself to not do something for a day, or to do something that day, rather, then you do it. Now, when I'm making these videos, I'm not making it to like shit on people. Like, I just gave an example of myself. I'm always talking to myself first, and that's why I create these videos, because they're also reminders for me. That's where that self-confidence comes from, man. Keeping your word to yourself. I guess that's why I made this video too, because there's a lot of times where I'll make this promise to myself, like, all right, chill out on the sugar this week, don't eat it, and then I catch myself eating it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did I do that? That wasn't worth it at all. Especially after I've consumed it. I'm just like, that wasn't worth it at all. And now I just think to myself, imagine if you just held out and kept your word. I know a lot of people can relate to that, because when you don't keep your word, you feel that shame. Like, damn, like I can't even do something so simple for myself that's gonna better myself. I can't do that? Is it that difficult? But it shouldn't be, man. It shouldn't be at all. It all starts with taking things one day at a time, breaking down those larger goals into smaller micro goals, one day at a time. Having a plan for yourself. This is why it's important to plan your day too, because planning your day also builds self-confidence, because when you complete all the things that you've planned to do during the day, you build more trust with yourself. You're building more rapport with yourself. You start to feel yourself more, man. You really do. You really do. And honestly, like, just in my personal opinion, I don't like to wake up and not have a plan, because I like to have a roadmap towards my different goals and my different plans. And I like to, build things, have structure to it so that I can get to the ultimate goal and obtain it. It's like when you don't have a plan, you're just basically preparing to fail. What's that saying? Fail to prepare, prepare to fail? Yeah. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. So you have to start planning things out for yourselves too. That helps you keep your word to yourself, because if you sometimes just say something that, oh, I'm going to do this and that, you might just forget eventually. You know what I'm saying? You might just forget and be like, yeah, I mean, this wasn't planned, so I don't have to do it. And then you wait till tomorrow, and then the next day after that, and then a week passes, a month passes, a few months pass, a year passes, and nothing gets done. And then your confidence is still low. And then you're scratching your head like, oh, why is my self-confidence not growing? Because you can't keep your words to yourself. Again, I'm speaking to myself first. Speaking to myself first as I'm making this video. There's also, my self-confidence has grown a lot, but there's also a lot of areas where I see I need to improve. You just got to remind yourself, break things down, break it down to the basics, make it easy for yourself, and watch what happens. That's the easiest way to gain self-confidence. It's by keeping your word to yourself. Because again, if you can't keep your word to yourself, how are you going to keep your word to others? How are you going to be able to lead other people, lead women in your life when you can't lead yourself? You know what I'm saying? It all starts with you. Hey, for one-on-one consultations, check the link in the bio, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace. Enjoy the view.